Hey, this is Ari Herstand, author of How to Make It in the New Music Business, 3rd edition out now, and you're listening to your Morning Coffee podcast with my friends Jay Gilbert and Mike Etchart, weekly music news for the new music business.
A guest column by Lyor Cohen for Billboard. AI won't replace artists. It will make them unstoppable.
And from Dave Brooks at Billboard, FTC sues Live Nation Ticketmaster for allowing ticket brokers to break its rules for profit. Directly inflates prices.
And from Glenn Peoples at Billboard, ad-supported streaming is struggling. Is short-form video to blame? Plus, we hear from Jarden Almeida over at Moises and Stephen Parker from NIVA. Much to cover. We're glad you're here. We're going to start the show right about now.
Stand by for transmission.
This is London calling.
Wake up! Your morning coffee is on the air. 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 Standing by. Your morning coffee, the weekly music news for the new music business. It's the highly curated, agitated, advocated, moderated, and liberated digital music information that you need to know. We are your digital music authority. And now from our studios in Hollywood, California, here's your hosts, Jay Gilbert and Mike Etchart.
To the river Jordan, stepped in the water, fell down on my knees. I saw the sweetest face in my reflection, heard her whisper softly to me, tell the people you love that you love them. Don't let anything get in your way, so they know there ain't no one above them. Tell the people each and every day, life is long.
Well, Mike, it was a rough week this week. We lost a tremendous talent in Brett James, a longtime friend and client of mine. He's written 29 number one hits, including co-writing Jesus Take the Wheel with Carrie Underwood. Check out the Brett James The Songwriters series, that playlist on Apple Music. I mean, he's written with everybody from, Carrie Underwood, Dierks Bentley, Kenny Chesney, Jason Aldean. I mean, everybody. He's written hundreds of songs for artists, and again, 29 number one hits. He will be sorely missed.
Oh, when I read the news, my stomach just dropped because I know you and he go way back, and really sad. Very, an amazingly talented guy. Boy, he will be missed. Hey, by the way, Billboard is launching On the Record Music Business Podcast with our friend Kristin Robinson.
Yeah, I can't wait for some of these episodes. I think the first one's out now. That's the one on the Sphere. But let's listen to Kristin describe it.
This week I'm launching a music business video podcast for Billboard, and I want to tell you all about it. So she's called On the Record with Kristin Robinson. And basically each week I tackle a new topic that's really interesting in the music industry with a top executive, an artist, or a Billboard journalist. For the first episode, which is out Thursday, I went backstage at the Sphere to talk about how a Sphere residency for U2, Dead & Company, Anima, Backstreet Boys, and more gets booked and planned from beginning to end. And to understand the process, I had Josephine Vaccarello, who is the head of booking for MSG Entertainment, which includes Sphere, and Carolyn Blackwood, who is the head of Sphere Studios, to talk me through it. I don't want to give too much away, but here are some of the other topics that we're going to be talking about this season. We're going to do an episode on how the Trump administration and ICE has impacted Latin music concert attendance and artist visas. We're also talking about whether or not the industry is recession-proof and how the Billboard charts work. We'll also talk to artists about how they went independent. I think there's something here for everyone. I want to feel like this is like lifting the veil on the music industry, opening up discussions that I get to have as part of my job every day to everyone else. If this sounds interesting to you, please follow our Instagram and stay tuned for the first episode.
Love that. Love that.
Yes. Since joining Billboard in 2021, Kristin Robinson has become a leading music business and technology reporter, covering all things from AI, streaming, publishing, digital marketing, labels, and a lot more. Her newsletter, which we talk about a lot, Machine Learnings, that's the intersection of music and tech and is widely read across the industry. But she was also on our AI roundtable, and we hope to have her on the next one. But we're big fans of Kristin Robinson over at Billboard, and congratulations to her on this new On the Record podcast.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And as my mom says, she is a good egg. She's just a good egg.
She really is.
She is. Well, Jay, you've done the Behind the Setlist podcast with Glenn Peoples, and you had Brent Smith from Shinedown on, and a Billboard story. Streaming will get your music played, but radio will give you a career.
Yeah, it's a really good episode. Check it out. Brent Smith, Shinedown. His longtime manager is a friend, Bill McGathy, legendary. And he really came up through radio, and this band Shinedown has had over 20 number one hits at Active Rock, and it's really built their career. And you hear people sort of dismiss radio these days and do it at your own peril because it still works for certain genres of music. Another story this week this was from Chartmetric. The headline was Figures in Music, Chris Dallariva on what data reveals about popular music. So data expert and also singer-songwriter Chris Dallariva, he discusses the surprising role of data in pop music's evolution, and in his latest book, Uncharted Territory, what numbers tell us about the biggest hit songs and ourselves. I haven't finished the book. I'm about a third through it, and we're going to have Chris on the podcast to talk through it. So
I look
stay
forward
tuned
to that. And the book. Yeah, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
Of course, we also dropped a very special edition of the podcast. It's a conversation with Tatiana Cirisano. That special bonus episode of the podcast with our friend Tatiana from Media breaks down their new report, All Eyes, No Ears, Why Virality is Not Building Fandom. Tatiana helps us understand the disconnect, implications for artists, the role of streaming platforms, and future trends, and a ton more. She is, as my mom would say, another good egg and very, very smart. Love it.
We had such a great conversation. So that one's live. So check that one out in your feed. There was a story from Consequence this week, and I saw the headline. It said the 30 best concert movies of all time. And I put it in your morning coffee, the newsletter, and I think it's really well done. I think it does capture, I would say, all of the best. Maybe not in the same order that I would have put them in. Like their number one is the Talking Heads, and I probably would have had Nirvana or Prince or Oasis or Led Zeppelin or U2 or Taylor Swift. It doesn't matter. We all have our own favorites, but you and I love concert movies, documentaries. What did you think?
I love them as well, of course. And as I was reading it, I was thinking, well, what is my favorite concert movie? And I'm going to go with The Last Waltz.
That's in there, yeah.
Yes,
that's a good
exactly.
one.
But that's the one that I go back and I watch clips on YouTube sometimes of some of the songs that was from that movie. And but there's just so many great ones. It's impossible to choose a number one. Yeah, so you got to just put a line in the sand, but it's really hard.
I would say you just print that thing out and check them off as you go through them. There's no wrong answer. There was a really interesting piece this week by Mandy DeLugdug over at Music Business Worldwide, and the headline was Whitney Houston Estate taps AI startup Moises to bring the late superstar's vocals back to the stage for a concert experience. And we've been sort of looking at the negatives of AI, But there's a lot of positives.
This is a huge positive.
So there are a lot of positives. We talk about, Randy Travis putting out music, even though, due to a stroke, he's not able to sing anymore. Or Brenda Lee rocking around the Christmas tree in Spanish. Well, she never sang it in Spanish. There are a lot of really good uses of AI in music, and this one really grabbed my attention. So let's listen to Jarden Almeida from Moises explain this Whitney Houston thing. Jarden, it's so good to see you. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
It was reported this last week that Moises is collaborating with Primary Wave, Park Avenue artists, and the Whitney Houston estate to launch The Voice of Whitney, a symphonic celebration that's going to go to like 7 cities beginning this week. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we're very honored to have been able to collaborate with the estate of Whitney Houston. And the idea is to bring Houston's legendary vocals back to stage. And the purpose is to, give the audience that feeling that, that we had back in the 80s and the 90s, like her majestic and unique vocals in an orchestral format.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't experienced the show myself. I'm based in Madrid, but I'm traveling to the US in November. So I'm looking forward to experience that. But from the people that I talked to and the people that have been to the concert, the show featured her vocals, remastered and realigned with a symphonic arrangement. Also display re-released video footage, interview pieces to really bring the audience back to that experience when she was alive. And we're very honored to have been able to collaborate with the team to do that.
Wow, this is incredible, and it really opens up this whole new thing going forward with some of these artists that sadly have left us. The company that you work for does a lot of other interesting things. Tell us about your AI studio and other sort of creator tools that you have.
Yeah. So Moises was founded in 2019. And, when we created the company, it was before the AI boom, especially before AI hit music. And Moises was designed to, for creators and musicians of all levels the technology that we're most known for is the stem separation, which is the ability for you with just using your phone to split vocals from instruments instantly. And this feels like magic because this type of technology wasn't, possible, especially on a smartphone device. And AI Studio was the latest product that we released, and it's designed for creators, beat makers, DJs, producers that want to beat the writer's block, that wants to finish a song. Different from other apps that are like, text to song, we are musically and context aware. So we don't want to produce the song for you or write the song for you. We would like to, be your co-creator. And the idea of the AI Studio is that you start the song, you lead, we follow your cues.
Jarden, where can our listeners learn more about Moises and also learn more about The Voice of Whitney, that symphonic celebration that's coming?
Yeah, if you want to learn more about Moises, just go to moises.ai, MOISES, or search for us on the App Store, Google Play. And to learn more about the Whitney Houston Symphonic Celebration, just go to whitneyhouston.com.
Thanks again. We'll be cheering from the sidelines, Jarden. Thanks for joining me.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Wow. So many of Houston's original multi-track recordings, including the vocals, drums, and keys, have actually been lost. Without access to clean vocal tracks, the project seemed impossible until Park Avenue artists reach out to Moises, and whose stem separation technology can actually isolate elements from fully mixed songs.
Yeah, Moises says that its algorithm can achieve near studio quality results, and the company processes 2.5 million minutes of audio every single day and has developed 45 separate proprietary AI models. The Moises platform now serves 65 million users across 33 languages. So congratulations to Jarden and the team over at Moises. That's super interesting.
It is really interesting. And as you and I talked about before we hit record, it is so common. These multi-track tapes get lost and misplaced, never turned in. And, when you want to do a project like this and they're gone, up until now, you were stuck. You just couldn't do one of those projects. But
right. And you were working on some of these, SACD, DVD audio, those types of mixes. And so you learned firsthand how difficult it was to find some of these things, but you're also into things like immersive audio, the Dolby Atmos, Sony 360, and they're running into some of those same problems, to your point, finding those multi-tracks, but they can use things like Audio Shake and Moises and some of these platforms to separate those stems and separate, all those instruments and voices and actually make those mixes, right?
Yeah, it's the coolest technology that's out there right now. Just for my own personal use as well. If you want to just learn a song and you want to hear that guitar part or that vocal part separate, you can just run it through it and boom, there they are, separate tracks. It's like, oh my gosh. Hey, an interesting story from music business worldwide. YouTube Music launches new tools to connect artists with super fans. So YouTube has launched a suite of new tools designed to help artists better connect with and monetize their most dedicated fans. The company announced at its Made on YouTube event this last Tuesday.
Yeah, that was super cool. I don't know if you caught the story in your morning coffee, but these features include, new release countdowns, album pre-saves on YouTube Music, plus some exclusive video and merch drops for fans. The new release countdown and pre-save features allow artists entering their album release cycle to create anticipation around upcoming releases.
So when artists drop a premium music video or visualizer track, fans can click to pre-save the upcoming album, triggering automatic notifications on release day.
Yeah, and YouTube is also experimenting, with exclusive merchandise drops for top viewers, building on its existing merch integration. The feature allows artists to schedule specific merchandise drops during live moments like premieres and parties.
All right, and additionally, YouTube is rolling out its Just for Fans video drops that will allow artists to reward their most dedicated supporters with exclusive video content, sharing special messages, and other things.
Yeah, and the thing that was most exciting to me, Mike, was that they introduced this new set of AI tools for video production. This is super cool. They want to go up against rivals like TikTok, in the short form video content market. So listen to this little clip. This is YouTube head of editorial and creator liaison, Ritchie. He and chief product officer, Johanna Richardson. Check this out.
I'm Ritchie, YouTube creator liaison.
I'm Johanna, YouTube's chief product officer.
Yeah, let's start with Shorts, Johanna. It's so exciting what your team is doing with Shorts this year.
Yeah, well, one thing that's interesting is all the creativity that can come when you add VO and Gen AI to Shorts. So the kinds of updates that we're talking about here are the ability to stylize a short, like make it a cartoon, add fantastical objects, like add a corgi to a short, animate an image. So you can animate an image with text, or you might be able to animate it with another video. So an example that I think is pretty cool is I could have a video of someone dancing like a ballerina and a picture of me, and then all of a sudden I can make a fun creative video of me dancing like a ballerina. So we're doing all that, and then we're also incorporating VO3, which is going to allow people to add sound to generated videos. There's just so much creativity that can be brought about when you give Gen AI to creators, and we're just really excited to see what creators will do with this.
That is so cool because I can't compete with the big special effects companies on things like digital doubles or digital sets, but I totally can on creativity. What are other ways that you're using technology and innovation to empower creators?
Yeah, when we think about adding Gen AI to YouTube, it is all about empowering human creativity. So we talked about ways that creators can use Gen AI to build shorts, but we also are thinking about creator workflow. One thing that we're doing is we're making YouTube Studio better. So we have a lot of powerful charts and graphs for how to run your business, but sometimes that can be unwieldy. So we're adding a chat interface so the creators can just converse about their analytics and try and understand what's working, what isn't working. We're also doing things to help with reach. So we're doing things like improving lip reanimation. So when your video's in another language, it looks more natural, looks more like you. We're doing things like making it easier to pull out the best moments in your podcast or in your live stream and to make it into a short. So across the board, we're really working on using AI to help power the creators and help with human creativity.
The other thing that I'm really, really excited about is collabs. We saw a test with Mr. Beast and Mark Rober over at Team Water, but what can you tell creators about how they work?
Yeah, well, creators have been collaborating on YouTube since the dawn of time, or at least a lot over the past 20 years. And what we're doing is we're adding product support to the collaboration feature. So you can add up to 5 creators to a single video. And this is just a great way to creators to uplift and support other members of the creative community. It's a way to help discover new audiences, improve your discovery. And so it's just a great feature that allows creators to support each other.
This is such a big announcement, Johanna. Where can people find out more?
Yeah, if you want to learn about all the things we've launched, because this has been our biggest Made on YouTube ever, go to our blog. All the features are detailed there. Yeah, and please dig in and see what we have for you.
And you know what to do. Leave a comment, leave a question, and keep it real.
Like and subscribe.
Super cool.
Yeah,
Super
AI,
cool.
We were talking about some of these positive aspects of AI. This is another one, helping creators create.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. A little piece in Rolling Stone caught our eye and cracked us up. Foo Fighters tease tour in AI-assisted promo video, saying there's more to come. Hysterical, actually.
Oh my God. I was cracking up because, AI doesn't typically, I think it's getting better, but sometimes when it deals with text, it doesn't do really well. Yes. And the picture of Dave Grohl holding the set list and it's just a bunch of gibberish was really cracking me up. Dave Grohl said, "It's been a while, but I'm happy to announce that the Foo Fighters are coming back to bring you that 100% real, raw human element of rock and roll." He said that before displaying that fake set list. But you have to watch this video because it's the members of Foo Fighters, but they're generated with AI, so they're not quite right. And it's absolutely hilarious.
Very clever. And before we get to the stories, Jay, hey, we have a lot of help from very cool people in very high places. Could not do the show without them.
Yeah, let's start with Hypebot. Since 2004, Hypebot has chronicled the new music industry and the trends and technologies that are changing how music is discovered, consumed, marketed, and monetized. It's edited daily by our friend Bruce Houghton with help from Alana Bonilla. Hypebot and sister blog Music Think Tank are both published by live music discovery and marketing platform Bands in Town.
Yes, sir. Over 90 million live music fans trust Bands in Town to get personalized concert alerts, recommendations, and messages from their favorite artists. It's the #1 artist service platform connecting over 650,000 artists with their superfans. Managers, labels, agencies, and artists access their own dashboard to manage and promote their tour dates across all platforms. And boy, am I a lucky guy because I get to hang out every Saturday, usually, with my good friend Jay Gilbert, music industry consultant, curator of the weekly Your Morning Coffee newsletter, and a former executive with Universal Music, Sony Music, and Warner Music Groups.
Well, color me fortunate because I get to do this show every week with my good friend Mike Etchart, longtime host of Sound and Vision Radio, formerly of SST Records, Warner Music, capital EMI, and Universal Music Group. And I would bet money that when you look at that top 30 of those concert films, I'll bet you've seen 20, 25 of them.
And I'm going to bet that you've probably seen all of them.
No, there's like 2 or 3 that I'm missing.
Okay. All right. So we're pretty close. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump into the big stories. This first one is from Billboard. It's AI won't replace artists. It will make them unstoppable. It's a guest column from Lyor Cohen. He starts by saying this isn't just about making things easier. It's about opening up a new world of creative possibilities.
Right. Lyor goes on to say that throughout every moment of my career in the music business, only one thing has been constant: change. We've seen it with the shift to digital, with streaming, and now we're facing it again with generative AI. I hear the same fears we heard then, that the machine is going to steal the soul of the art. I understand the concern, but let me be straight with you. This thing isn't here to replace artists. It's here to help them soar even higher to higher levels of artistry.
He says, think of Gen AI as the ultimate creative partner. It's no different from the drum machine that gave hip-hop its signature sound or the sampler that changed the game. This isn't just about making things easier. It's about opening up a new world of creative possibilities. And artists can now create a dozen versions of a record, find the perfect hook, or get the lyrics just right, all while keeping their hands on the wheel of their creative work.
He goes on to say that the question isn't whether AI will shake things up. That's already happening. So the real question we must ask is, how do we use this technology to make ourselves unstoppable? Every artist, songwriter, and producer has an opportunity right now to channel their creative gifts in new ways, to grab these tools and create something uniquely their own. That lays the foundation for the next 10, 20, 30 years of their careers. That's the opportunity. The goal isn't to avoid being replaced. It's to use every tool at your disposal, including generative AI, to elevate this art form and take it to new heights.
Right. Lyor says, and we're already seeing it. Artists and filmmakers are creating jaw-dropping cinematic quality music videos with the help of these tools. We're talking legendary artists like Wu-Tang Clan, who created their full-length music video Mandingo earlier this year using Google's VO, or Teyana Taylor, who created mind-blowing scenes for her new musical short form Escape Room using our filmmaking tool Flow. These are some of the most creative folks in the industry, and they're running with these tools. They're not standing on the sidelines.
So how do we get there? We shift our mindset. Instead of only focusing on what we may lose, we focus on what's being created. And that's not to negate the real concern artists have about protecting the integrity of their art. But let's be clear, while new technology has always brought about disruption, fans have a knack for connecting with authenticity. AI isn't going to be a replacement for that. Artists must continue to bring their true selves to their work. Otherwise, fans will see right through it.
Right. He goes on to say, I've been in this game for 40 years. I've seen it all. And as a music guy who loves a good fight, I can tell you every single one of those shifts was scary as hell. But they were also thrilling, and this is no different. The best way forward is to keep an open mind, an open conversation, and a relentless focus on the creative. We're all in this together, and the future of music is not about protecting the past. It's about building a better, more creative, and more lucrative future. This is our moment as an industry to seize the opportunity in this shift and lead the way into the next era of music together. Of course, Lyor Cohen is the global head of music at YouTube and Google. And what a really great perspective, you know? And sometimes you just kind of need to be shook a little bit and say, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let me show you what's really going on. And he did a great job there.
He did. And it's part of that theme, I think, for this episode, which is more of a positive theme, that it's not all doom and gloom. There are some positive aspects to generative AI. And I used to work on the same team with Lyor. I'm really looking forward to having him on the podcast at some point. But again, a really great sort of op-ed from Lyor Cohen. Our next story is super important. The headline was FTC Sues Live Nation, Ticketmaster, for allowing ticket brokers to break its rules for profit. And that directly inflates prices. This is from Dave Brooks at Billboard. And we did reach out to Ticketmaster Live Nation for their response, and they have not provided they responded to me, but they haven't crafted their response yet. So we'll keep everybody posted on that. So you're going to hear this side. The ticketing giant has had ample warning that scalpers were violating the company's own policy, but according to this report, it chose to protect the bottom line instead.
So the Federal Trade Commission, that's the FTC, has filed a lengthy lawsuit against Live Nation and Ticketmaster, seeking a permanent injunction against what it describes as years of systemic, unfair, and deceptive practices.
Right. So this week, I had the opportunity to sit down with Stephen Parker. You may know Stephen as the executive director of NIVA. Let's listen in. Stephen Parker, thank you so much for joining me today on short notice. Appreciate you joining us.
Thanks so much for the opportunity. It's great to be here.
Yeah, a lot in the news this week. The FTC filed a lawsuit against Live Nation and Ticketmaster, and it's seeking a permanent injunction against what it describes as years of systematic, unfair, and deceptive practices. What does this mean for fans, artists, in the industry?
What the independent venues and festivals saw yesterday was a betrayal. It is truly shocking, some of the things that were detailed in the complaint that was filed by the FTC. It's exacerbated by the fact that Live Nation was sued a year ago by the U.S. Department of Justice and 40 state attorneys general for using anti-competitive practices. I think the most kind of striking thing that we saw is that we already knew that Live Nation was the largest promoter in the world. We already knew that they were the largest ticketing provider in the world. We already knew that they were one of the largest artist managers in the world. We knew they had the most sophisticated advertising and sponsorship revenue streams and partnerships in the world. And now we know they're one of the world's largest scalpers as well. And so if I'm an artist and I am on a Live Nation tour, or if I'm a venue, independent or not, that is chosen to use Ticketmaster, I start to question what Live Nation and Ticketmaster have told us for years about how resale was not something that they were involved in. It's something that they were cracking down on. The fact that this complaint shows with certainty the federal government has receipts that Live Nation knew that resellers were bypassing their systems and bots were bypassing their systems. They knew that they were going to lose revenue from 5 million tickets a year if they were to start to actually enforce ticket limits, shows that they lied to us. They lied to us. And whether they're convicted by the FTC or not, in this case, whether they're broken up or not, we believe they will be on both counts. This should make us question how comfortable we are letting Live Nation be as big as they are and as ubiquitous as they are in the live sector.
So for those with no prior knowledge, what are speculative ticket sales? We read about this a lot, and there's a little bit of confusion about it. Talk about speculative ticket sales and why they're a bad thing.
Speculative tickets, it's very simple. They are quote unquote tickets, and I'm using air quotes right now, that are for sale, that are not in the possession of the broker or the scalper or the person that listed them. Full stop. We are seeing there's a wonderful independent venue in New Orleans called the Howlin' Wolf. They put a show on sale for a Tuesday with an awesome New Orleans band that's well known that I will not implicate in this whole thing. The tickets were $25 on their dashboard for their ticketing service. 24 hours later, 48 hours later, they hadn't sold a ticket yet. It was a slow show. This band plays there often, a lot of late sales. There were already tickets listed on Vivid Seats without a single ticket being sold for more than $900. All the tickets were still available at $25 from the Howlin' Wolf, but StubHub had tickets for $1,000 for this show. That is a speculative ticket. Vivid Seats sells speculative tickets in the open. They call it Seat Saver. They say it's not a speculative ticket. It's not a fake ticket. It's a service. It's not a service. We did a really quick kind of like check when all the Beyonce stadium shows were on sale. And we saw rows listed for sections on Vivid Seats for their Seat Saver program that didn't exist. There were sections on the floor and at least 4 arenas where Beyonce was playing 4 different shows where a row was listed, row 20, when there were only 12 rows in the section. And these tickets were thousands of dollars, $1,800, $2,200. And if someone had bought them, they would have paid that for them. They might have flown there. They might have gotten a hotel. They might have paid for rideshare to get there. They might have bought a meal that they weren't planning on buying. And when they showed up, that ticket wasn't going to be there or wasn't going to work. These are fake tickets. These are ubiquitous. They are normal now in the resale market, and they need to be illegal. We've made them illegal in several states, and we believe this is something that should be nationwide, either at the state level or at the federal level. That's a speculative ticket, and that's a pretty horrible thing to be well known for as an industry.
How big a problem are ticket resellers in general, and is there a way to regulate resellers?
So we know from the Live Nation lawsuit by the FTC that Live Nation sold about 3.8 million tickets in 2019. Last year, they sold more than 20 million resale tickets just on their platform. And they're not even the largest. Resale in and of itself is not a bad thing. The resale market serves a really important purpose. The problem is that it's unchecked. Cosmetologists are more regulated than the resale market in states. And so ultimately, the resale market has a huge incentive, because there are no checks, to buy up, using illegal bots or not, all the face value tickets for high demand shows and maybe not high demand shows, and sell them at the highest price they can. The number one way that we can preserve the resale market, rein in Live Nation, and protect consumers is price caps. In Maine last year, some courageous state legislatures on a bipartisan basis passed a bill that puts in place a price cap that says that you cannot charge more than 10% of the original total price of the ticket if you sell that ticket on resale. You still make money. You still make money. You can still make up for the acquisition cost, the platform cost, the credit card fee as a resale platform and as a scalper. And that bill is being implemented right now. All 50 states should have that price cap. All 50 states should take away the incentive for a reseller or a scalper to scoop up all those tickets, the artist price to specific price to get the most fans in the room. And ultimately, we believe that that's the number one solution that every state should take up in the upcoming state legislative sessions that start in January 2026.
It's been proven that works, right? This is already being done in some other territories.
Yes, and Australia has a 10% price cap on resale. There are already limited restrictions in other European countries. The UK is considering a very similar price cap to what Maine just did. The Washington, D.C., their city council has, the majority of council has signed onto a bill that would put a no more than 10% price cap on resale in the District of Columbia, and we believe that that bill will pass. This is a movement. And it's one where we're not even approaching states anymore about this. On a bipartisan basis, Democratic legislators, Republican legislators, since that Maine bill passed, are reaching out to us and saying, how do we do that too? This is the path.
Where can our listeners learn more about the work that you're doing at NIVA and about this landmark case?
You can go to NIVASSOC.org. You can also go to fixthetix.org. All of the information that we do, both as ourselves as an association on behalf of independent venues, promoters, and festivals across the country on ticketing, and then everything else is on our website. And we also run a coalition that basically encompasses every player in the music industry, from the Recording Industry Association of America to the Music Managers Forum to companies like UMG. They have partnered with us to get some of these positive reforms in states, and you can find out more about us on either one of those websites.
Stephen, thank you for joining us and breaking this down for us. It's been enlightening. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jay.
So Ticketmaster Live Nation has yet to respond to the lawsuit. We'll stay on top of it, and we will report back. Very interesting stuff, though, for sure.
Yeah, very much so. To be continued, right? And our final story is from our friend Glenn Peoples over at Billboard. And it really came about, it's attached to his weekly newsletter, The Ledger, which we talk about quite a bit. The headline, though, was ad-supported streaming is struggling. Is short-form video to blame? And Glenn writes that Spotify's decision earlier this week to improve its free ad-supported tier wasn't an unexpected move. In July, CEO Daniel Ek said that he was unhappy with the company's advertising business, and executives laid out their efforts to turn it around. Some changes would be technical, such as giving brands the ability to buy programmatic ads through platforms such as The Trade Desk. The move to allow free streamers to choose their songs rather than listen on shuffle mode was a lot more straightforward.
Right. Well, the problem with free ad-supported music isn't confined to Spotify, though. Around the world, streaming revenue from audio and video supported by advertising fell sharply in the first half of the year. In the U.S., free streaming, both audio and video, from on-demand and social platforms fell about 3% to $875 million, worse than the almost 2% decline in all of 2024. In contrast, paid subscriptions rose more than 6% to $2.89 billion through last June 30th, better than the 5.3% gain back in 2024.
Right. Glenn goes on to report that numerous people who spoke to Billboard, they pointed to video, particularly short-form video, as the culprit behind the decline in ad-supported streaming. Although these executives lacked a smoking gun, there is some evidence that TikTok and other short-form video platforms are taking attention away from better monetized streams of music videos.
All right. Well, a new report by Media Research highlighted how popular short-form and social media apps can exist in a parallel world to music streaming platforms that provide the bulk of record labels' revenues. Views on TikTok and YouTube Shorts don't convert well to streams at better-paying platforms like Spotify. That conversion funnel, as Media calls it, is especially weak for young consumers.
Right. And if you want to learn more about that Media report, check out our special episode with Tatiana Cirasano that we just mentioned. Glenn writes that TikTok is particularly adept at keeping consumers' attention, according to Media's report. People frequently discover artists on TikTok, but they're more likely to follow the artists on TikTok than they are to listen to more of the artist's music elsewhere. Indeed, the report found that TikTok is worse than any other social platform at converting attention to streams outside of its own ecosystem. The result is a warning for record labels that pour resources into marketing. According to Media, today's 16 to 24-year-olds are less likely than 25 to 34-year-olds to have discovered an artist whom they love in the last year.
Yeah, well, Glenn says the cause for the drop in free streams is not so clear-cut, however, and Media's findings don't always jibe with a previous report. In February, a Luminate report commissioned by TikTok concluded that TikTok was a key driver of music discovery, monetization, and chart success in the U.S. TikTok users, according to that report, are more likely to be super fans who pay for music subscriptions. That doesn't impact the question about free streams, and have used TikTok's Add Music to App feature to save more than 1 billion tracks to streaming services.
So nonetheless, a report released last week by SNEP, that's France's Recorded Music Association, it echoed the Media study by indicating that a poor conversion rate from social media to long-form video platforms was having real consequences on revenues. The report explained that almost 7%, that was a decline in mid-year ad-supported video streaming revenues, by citing video's transformation and the popularity of short-form videos, primarily at social media apps. Ad-supported audio streaming fared better, rising about 2% from the prior year period.
Any decline in video streaming revenue creates questions about YouTube, the world's most popular streaming platform. YouTube generated $36 billion in 2024 and over $21 billion from advertising, and is accessed by an estimated 2.7 billion people each month. It is a ubiquitous presence, not just in music, but across the internet.
Yeah, Glenn goes on to say that numerous music executives point to the rise of YouTube Shorts as a likely factor behind the video streaming's downward trajectory. YouTube Shorts, TikTok-style short-form videos that have been nearly integrated into YouTube viewing experience were watched 70 billion times last year, according to Business of Apps. When people view shorts, so the thinking goes, they are less likely to view full-length music videos that provide record labels with better royalties. Labels licensing deals with YouTube pay them a flat fee for short-form videos rather than the per-stream revenue they get for full-length music videos, according to sources.
So Johnny Clority, he's the CEO of Songfluencer, said when algorithms and design decisions push fans towards short form, the natural byproduct is declining engagement with long-form music videos. For many artists, full-length videos aren't seen as a good investment, adds Clority. He has found that today's artists spend approximately 10 times more time and resources creating short-form content rather than longer content. He says, I hear it directly from clients who are weighing whether to release stripped-down, lo-fi full-length videos or no full-length video at all, he says.
YouTube's diminished role in recorded music royalties can also partially be explained by the platform's years-long transformation into a major entertainment company. Years ago, when YouTube was awash in low-quality content, music videos played a more prominent role. And labels commanded premium royalty rates, but YouTube has since turned itself into a platform where successful independent creators mingle with content from every major TV network. Multiple music industry sources believe YouTube's focus on being a TV platform has hurt music.
Right. The TV is a major focus for YouTube, with two sources saying the rise of long-form videos by household names like Mr. Beast has come at the expense of a focus on music. There are now so many creators making high-quality videos that YouTube holds an annual upfront an event typically held by TV networks to woo advertisers. Back in August, YouTube was the top TV distributor in the U.S. for the 6th consecutive month, with a more than 13% share of all TV usage, far ahead of number 2 Disney's at just a little more than 9%.
Wow. YouTube, the top TV distributor. The problem with ad-supported music isn't confined to video. As Spotify's advertising revenue has languished, its premium tier has helped fuel the company's rapid growth. In 2022, 2023, the company's free user growth exceeded its premium user growth in 7 of 8 quarters. Over those 2 years, the number of free users grew 61%. That's to 379 million, while premium users grew at about half that rate, climbing 31% to 236 million.
Well, since the first quarter of 2024, though, premium user growth bested free user growth 4 out of 6 times, including in the first 2 quarters of 2025. Over those 6 quarters, the numbers of premium users grew 17% to 276 million, while free users increased just 14% to 433 million.
Yeah, Sachin Sagar from Red Brick Advisors says what you're seeing is a maturing of the market in general. People converting to premium aren't being replaced on the freemium side, which would lend itself to a decline in revenue for ad-supported streaming.
All right. Well, the problem isn't without solutions. Spotify's changes to its free tier could help bring in new users, and giving free listeners the ability to select tracks could encourage free listeners to delve into the catalogs of artists they discover on social media. Additionally, short-form video platforms won't always lag so far behind more mature platforms' monetization. But those could be hard-fought gains for artists and labels. That's additional reporting, by the way, by Dan Rees and Kristin Robinson. Well, really interesting piece.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Fantastic piece. And boy, I mean, I've started been noticing my YouTube time lately. Damn, I'm there all the time, and it's
the new TV.
It's the new TV. It really is. And there's so much wonderful content there. It's stunning. And boy, it's easy to just, get lost, and you turn around and it's like, I'm watching YouTube for 3 hours. What the hell's the matter with me?
It's great content.
It
is.
And
I hate using the C word, but it is. And the quality is so much better than when it first started out. I mean, you see these high def videos, and you and I are big fans of Rick Beato. And I can't wait for the next Rick Beato to come out. And Chris Robley has a really great new YouTube channel that we've been watching quite a bit. And, you can watch podcasts on YouTube. It's the new TV.
It is the new TV indeed. Hey, but it is time to wrap up the show. So we want to thank everyone for listening. Hey, and if you have a good time listening, please tell just one friend. Jay and I would certainly appreciate it. That was music by the Licorice Quartet. And on behalf of my good friend, Jay Gilbert, I'm Mike Etchart. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week on the Your Morning Coffee Podcast.
You've been listening to Your Morning Coffee, the weekly music news program for the new music business. Join Jay Gilbert and Mike Etchart next time for the digital music news you need to know.